Venezuela's opposition leader demands the release of Caracas Mayor Antonio Ledezma. He was arrested over claims that he was involved in a plot to overthrow President Nicolas Maduro. For more, I'm joined by CCTV's Markovits. And Martin, what can you tell us about these events happening in Caracas?
Well, Caracas Mayor Antonio Ledezma is a politician that for many years butted heads with Hugo Chavez and his successor Nicolas Maduro. So much so that the ruling party stripped most of his mayoral powers after he was elected in 2008. But now he's in jail.
On Thursday night, Venezuelan intelligence officials went into the offices of Antonio Ledezma and detained the veteran opposition mayor of Venezuela's capital and largest city. Calling it a kidnapping, supporters soon mobilized to protest his detention. But on television Thursday night, President Nicolas Maduro was defiant. He said the 59-year-old mayor was part of a U.S.-backed plot to bomb the presidential palace in order to overthrow his government.
El señor Ledezma, Antonio Ledezma.
On the orders of the state prosecutors, the mayor was captured and will be processed by the Venezuelan justice system for crimes committed against the peace of the country.
But here at this rally, supporters of the Caracas mayor say that his arrest was politically motivated to shift public focus away from Venezuela's deep economic problems.
It's a smokescreen. When there is news that's making an impact, you have to respond with something that will make more of an impact. What they just did to Ledezma is exactly that.
Both Maduro and Chavez frequently accuse the U.S. and right-wing forces of trying to topple their governments. In a statement, the U.S. State Department said it believes Ledezma's arrest appears to be the Venezuelan government's effort to escalate intimidation of its political opponents by rounding up prominent leaders of the opposition. A year ago, opposition leader Leopoldo Lopez was arrested for his role in violent street protests that lasted 4 months and led to the deaths of 43 people.
Yeah, and today, former U.S. President Bill Clinton followed the lead of Human Rights Watch and the United Nations in urging the Venezuelan government to free all political prisoners. But the Maduro government has remained firm that these officials would be prosecuted under the law. They say soon new evidence would be released that would prove Ledezma's involvement in a coup.
And Martin, could we see more arrests with the same accusations?
Well, yeah, many people are fearing that in the aftermath of the last year's big anti-government protests, that several high-profile opposition leaders would be arrested. There are also now rumors on Twitter that opposition leader Maria Corina Machado might be next. The Maduro government has taken a more offensive approach towards the country's opposition since last year's protests. Some analysts say they're doing this ahead of this year's congressional elections because they fear they might lose some seats. But it really might be difficult for the Maduro government to continue this approach. Although Venezuela doesn't have support from Washington, Caracas still counts on most of its South American and Caribbean neighbors as defenders of its socialist government. If Maduro continues to jail opposition leaders at this rate, they might start to lose support from these countries who have always praised Venezuela for its democratic institutions.
All right, CCTV's Martin Markovits reporting live from Caracas. And from